Welcome to This Week in Guns. Our bandwidth sponsor today is Stealth Gear USA, stealthgearusa.com. This show is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network, Patriot Patch Company, and JWB Military and Brass. Welcome to the podcast with the latest commentary on the firearms industry news, information, and buzz. Brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. I'm your host, Jake Challen, president of FRN. You make this show possible. That's right. You simply click through our Amazon affiliate link the next time you're shopping online, and a small portion of your sale goes to supporting program shows like This Week in Guns. And also go over to pledge your support at firearmsradio.tv/pledge. We have a great panel this week. We have Braca James returning, chairman and founder of MASF. Hey, Braca, what's up?
Not much, Jake. How you doing, dude? Congratulations on the baby.
Thanks. Yeah, I had to take last week off. We had like our 256th kid.
Yeah, you have quite the platoon now, don't you? What number is this? Fifth?
Number 5. That's right.
Sweet.
2 boys,
Good.
3 girls. So,
Nice.
I mean, baby are doing well, and sleep. Yeah, don't know what that is. Actually, this one's been not too bad. Knock on wood. So far. Got a new studio backdrop here at the
Awesome.
Firearms Radio Network secret hidden bunker. I did something that Trump has been claiming he's going to do, build a wall. I built a wall. I
Nice.
actually did it.
Was it acoustic foam?
Yep, acoustic foam and some patch panels. I got some more foam on its way. So, yeah.
I like that patch behind you in the back left corner. It's pretty nice. That MASF patch back there, buddy.
Yeah, collector's item.
That's right. 2 of them.
We have Nate Murr joining us he's a director of business development over at Kinetic Development Group. Hey, Nate, how you doing?
Hey, Jake, guys, loyal listeners at home. How's everybody doing?
They're waving right now. I can see. We have first timer Damon Christopher, Second Amendment advocate and member of the speed metal band White House Burning. Hey, Damon, how you doing?
Hey, Jake. Hey, Nate. Hey, Baraka.
What's up, dude?
I'm doing good, man. It's great to be on. I listen to the show all the time. It's really exciting for me to sit down with you guys. You guys are like rock stars to me.
And you are a rock star.
So tell us a little bit about your band, and maybe how you came across the show.
White House Burning, we've been together about 4 years now, but me, Mikey, and Dean, we've known each other for a long time, long history as musicians in various bands together around here in Chicago. And then we formed like 4 years ago. Like I said, we like to say that we dropped all the other guys and kept the talent of all the other bands that we've been in. And it was always meant to be, kind of a political statement almost, to keep an eye on the government, watch what's going on in the world, and our songs and our writing kind of reflect that.
Very cool. Are the other guys into guns as well?
Oh, absolutely. The drummer, Dean, he actually convinced me to get my CCW permit. And Mikey, the bass player, he's an enthusiast. He took the class to get his CCW about 7 or 8 months ago, and I think it expired, so he never applied for a CCW. So now I think he's got to go again. He's too busy playing his guitar, I think.
Well, very cool. Welcome to the program, and we'll get to know about what you've been up to a little more later in the show. So. Good. Also, Adam Kraut, Esquire, joining the program, Firearms Industry Consulting Group, Division of Prince Law Offices, PC, the host of the Legal Brief over on the Gun Collective, and he's also running for the board of directors for the NRA. Hey, Adam.
What's up, Jake? How are you doing?
Doing great. Good to have you back.
Great to be back. I love doing this show.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual co-hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Firearms Radio Network and or their employers. Viewer discretion is advised, especially during live shows. And Patriot Patch Company helps make this program possible. Head over to patriotpatch.co. New miniature bullet bill patches in stock. New AR-15 and AK-47 cleaning mats are in stock. And there's new Patches Against Humanity patch in stock. Head on over to patriotpatch.co to see what's up with that. Top stories this week. Adam's going to start us out with some positive news.
So, positive news this week. The Second Amendment Foundation holds a gun rights policy conference. The gun rights advocates and others gathered in Tampa, Florida on Saturday during the Second Amendment Foundation's annual conference. Guns.com was live blogging the event. So they said to refresh their page. So it started off with Alan Gottlieb, the chairman of the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms and founder of the Second Amendment Foundation. He kicked off the gun rights policy conference with a speech aimed at Democrats and their efforts to erode Second Amendment rights. And he went on to discuss about Hillary Clinton and her gun safety platform, and then was followed by Linda Walker speaking on behalf of the NRA-ILA, Jeff Knox, the director of the Firearms Coalition, the legislative director of the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms, Joe Waldron. So it was all more or less a rock star panel of names that you should recognize. Larry Pratt, the executive director for Gun Owners of America. So pretty good stuff going on down there.
How was attendance on the event?
That I don't know.
Hopefully they weren't preaching just to the choir or a half-empty room.
Usually it is to the choir, and the problem with that I always find, and we'll talk about it here in a little bit, is getting people to get involved. And I'm sure you know all about that for that matter, so I'm preaching to the choir with that one, I'm sure. Then the second story here is McKenna Dahl becomes the first woman to medal in the Paralympic shooting for the United States. So this young lady is a 20-year-old from Arlington, Washington, and she made history last week by becoming the first female competitor to medal and picked up the first U.S. Paralympics Games medal in shooting since 2004. So she was competing in the mixed 10-meter air rifle standing, mixed 10-meter air rifle prone, and the falling target rifle. She was born with, I'm not even going to attempt it, how to pronounce it, in her left hand and both of her feet, which caused her muscles not to form properly. So she won a bronze in the mixed air rifle prone, and she was the only female competitor in the final field of 8, which is awesome. So it's awesome to see people, even with physical disabilities, still partaking in a sport that gives us, gives a lot of us great joy, although that's a little different than what a lot of us do. But
I like her quote. She said, "I could be really competitive in shooting, but also competitive with myself." She said, "I could challenge myself to be better versus trying to do better as a team." But I think for a lot of people, that's exactly what shooting is and what shooting represents. It's not just like shooting competition formally or shooting against your buddy. It's like that self-competition, that desire to get better and more accurate and faster and everything else that makes it so fun. There's a goal that you set within yourself. That's really cool.
yeah,
I think it's amazing that the Paralympics, and I think it's amazing and admirable that they even have that as an event, and as still in these times.
I mean, that means America placed or medaled in both the regular Olympics and the Paralympics. So we have a lot of shooters here. That's a good thing.
Oh yeah,
it's a reason why we probably keep winning so many medals at the Olympics.
So, and that rounds up our positive news, or as Jake likes to say, end positive news.
End of the world as we know it. California veto for Gunmageddon effort fails to get enough signatures.
That shocks me. With all those how many California gun owners are there, and they can't get out?
Doesn't shock me in the slightest.
Wow,
and I'm sure Damon can probably relate. But this is kind of what I was getting at when I said we'll talk about it in a minute. When he asked about attendance at the firearms, the gun rights policy conference, the problem is it seems like gun owners, and I suspect it's true in a lot of other areas, special interest areas, where you have very few that are doing the heavy lifting, and everyone else just thinks someone else is going to do it for them. Right here in Pennsylvania the other day, we have a bill. The real quick backstory is we had a bill that the last governor signed that made our preemption stronger by allowing membership organizations to sue on behalf of their members and for attorneys to collect attorneys' fees. That was found to be unconstitutional, so now they're trying to, because of the way the bill was passed, not the content of it. So now they're trying to pass it correctly as its own thing, and the Democrats are adding all kinds of. There was 217 amendments filed against the one bill as an effort to stop it from happening. So what's the solution? Well, call your representatives and the people in the committee and tell them, hey, run this without an amendment. It literally took me 5 minutes. I took a screenshot of my phone and I posted it and said, spend 5 minutes of your life, do something, to protect your rights. And I guarantee you that not very many people took that 5 minutes to do it.
That's unfortunate.
You're absolutely right about certain folks doing the heavy lifting, and it's so hard these days to actually mobilize people in a physical way to like take their bodies and go and do something. They think they can show support by clicking something that they like it, and they can even commit to going to an event or something like that, or to signing a petition. But when it comes down to putting the rubber on the road, they're just not there.
Agree.
It's hashtag activism. That's what I think they call it nowadays. I shared a picture. Yeah, don't tread on me or whatever.
Yeah, that's a problem, man. Same problem's going to come up in the election too.
Yeah, so going back to the Gunmageddon thing, I mean, it really is unfortunate. And Baraka, I think going to your point of how could this happen? There's so many gun owners. Well, yeah, there are a lot of gun owners in California, and it's a defeatist attitude almost. If they all looked at it and said, you know what, we can make positive change, and each individual gun owner got up and went and signed a petition, it would have been, you would have easily crushed that.
Yeah, landslide, dude. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it's too hard to work to protect your own freedoms, and you expect someone else to do it for you, which is always goes back to, well, why isn't the NRA doing this? Well, dude, all these organizations can only do so much. Part of it's got to be you.
Absolutely. Like, what was one of my? I heard a quote. I can't remember the guy's name, but somebody was like, "What do we do about all the hungry people in America?" And he's like, "Well, go in your kitchen, make some sandwiches, and go out on the street and start giving hungry people sandwiches. Do it yourself.
You can make
a difference. Yeah."
California governor vetoes 2 gun bills and signs 3 others. Jerry Brown vetoed measures to hike permit fees and restrict gun loans, while signing others to standardize permits, lock up police guns left in cars, and allow gun dealers to sell cops off-register handguns cut out for law enforcement.
I don't even understand what kind of sense this makes. Making a cop lock up his gun in his car? What?
Yeah, that's not going to work.
I think if I understood correctly, and I could be wrong, but I think they're now being held to the same standard as you or I. So if we were to leave a gun unattended in the car, it better be locked up. And now I think that same thing is being translated over to officers as well.
It's going to evolve. California's going to evolve into, with their law enforcement, they're going to go into what I see happening is this smart gun technology, where maybe the LA police have to converge on a crime scene, and somebody's going to have to drop some kind of transmitter that their guns will only fire in a certain radius. That's where that's going, in my opinion.
Can we get a supervisor out here? Somebody unlock my gun?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I think another reason for that measure is that there's been so many guns stolen out of police cars, some of them left unlocked even over the last few years.
Right.
Where I work, well, I'm not supposed to say where I work or talk about it. It's stupid. But one of our special agents, his whole car got stolen.
Oh, dude.
The whole vehicle, and he's a special agent, for the railroad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one of those things where you look at like a parking lot, right, and you see like a pickup truck, and you're like, oh, there might be a gun in that pickup truck. And then you see like a Prius with like a Vote Hillary sticker, and you're like, there's definitely not a gun in that car. But you see a police cruiser, and like, you can usually look through the window and see the gun inside. You know, or there might be there's a high probability of there being a long gun in that vehicle.
Or some knucklehead CCW carrier might have a Glock sticker or a Ruger sticker in the back of his damn truck. You know?
Yeah, no low vis, man.
I'm just saying, like target indicators. That's what we call those things target indicators. So, like, if you have a bunch of gun stickers on the back of your vehicle, you probably don't want to leave your gun in your vehicle because all the target indicators are broadcasting on the back. And unfortunately, sometimes people are forced to do that. They're forced to leave a firearm in their car. I know that I've been forced to leave a firearm in my car because of the circumstances, and I still try to go to measures to ensure my weapon doesn't get stolen. The simplest being a cable lock going through the trigger guard and around the seat frame. But anyway, I'm just saying, it's like vehicles are burglarized often, and police cars are no different. Like, if you're a bad guy and you want to get a gun, a police car is probably the easiest place to guarantee you get one.
Damn good place to look.
Yeah, but it also depends on the officer. One of my friends, I was doing part-time head of security at a nightclub, and one of my friends was having a birthday party, and one of my other friends, who's an FBI agent, he's a sniper for the FBI, he pulls up in the front. I told him there was no parking in the club, and he's like, hey man, and it has a government tag on it. That's all you can see. Everything else is plain, no marks or whatever. And I was like, he's like, can I park this here? He's like, are you going to be here the whole night and never leave this area? And I was like, yeah. He's like, can I literally park this 10 feet away from you? And I was like, why? And he pops open the trunk of the car. He's got 2 sets of body armor in there, a long gun, a sub gun, and God knows how much ammunition. He's like, because he can be deployed 24/7. So even though he's at his brother's birthday party, he has to take his vehicle and all of his stuff. But at least
even when you're off the clock, you're not off the clock.
You got
Did you tell him thanks for the new toys?
I won't mess with that dude. He's a bad dude, man.
All right, on to the terror attacks and riots section. I'm going to blaze through these headlines.
I mean, why are we going to blaze for this? This is all this last week. This is all a lot of really heavy, important stuff, though, right?
Would you let me finish? I'm going to read the headlines, and then we're going to talk about it.
A lot of shootings in the last week.
So, pipe bombs planted at New Jersey 5K benefiting Marines, Navy. Explosion injures 29 in New York City. Officials call it intentional. Washington, Cascade Mall shooting, the latest news, 5 killed. 16-year-old cancer survivor among the victims. Shooter arrested. Turkish immigrant. Terror in St. Cloud. ISIS claims responsibility for attacking 9. Attacker taken down by off-duty cop.
That's my favorite story right there.
And Charlotte, Keith Lamont, Scott shooting and riots. Synced video shows broader perspective on shooting. Scott background shows domestic violence, allegations, weapon conviction. Gun recovered at fatal Charlotte police shooting was reported stolen. First arrest made in video of 10 attackers in parking garage beating a white man. And whether the Second Amendment applies to all citizens is not a new question. And then California, how do you even pronounce this? El Cajon, El Cajon. Police shoot and kill unarmed black man protests begin. I also have other shootings and riots in the overflow section. Way too much to cover this week. So terror attacks and riots. Where do we start? Start with the pipe bombs.
I was going to say Nate on the Marine Corps tribute one. I figured he was going to jump on that one.
Well, I don't know if it came out officially or not that the New Jersey bomb that was left for the 5K was connected to the bombs that went off in New York City, the 2 devices that were up there, but it wouldn't surprise me considering the proximity. But I mean,
I saw that they were related, didn't I?
They were. I think they did confirm that. But I mean, you had 2 devices in New York and you had 1 down in New Jersey. That's 3 bombs in a very small radius, right? The guy that they shot and took into custody, I believe, was Afghani. You have the Cascade Mall shooting, who was Turkish, and then the St. Cloud stabbing guy, I think, was Somali. So I mean, it's regardless of where they're from, there's definitely some commonalities there with it. But this goes to show, like, they're literally talking about doing a registration or tracking people that buy pressure cookers, because the pressure cookers, is just a steel pot that you can lock.
I literally just bought a pressure cooker about 2 months ago for my girlfriend who does home canning from our garden, and I thought about that. I was like, God damn.
Well, congratulations, you're only on another list.
Nobody needs a high capacity pressure cooker. Who needs to can 8 cans at once?
You can do one at a time.
Those pickles are pretty good, man. I'll tell you.
Well, what I'm saying is this: is that they're actually talking about trying to track that, kind of like how after the Oklahoma City bombing, they started tracking large quantities of ammonium nitrate, which was the primary explosive used in that bombing. So to this day, like, if a farmer buys, say, 2 tons of ammonium nitrate, an ATF agent or an FBI agent can come out and kind of do a spot check, right? It's just kind of following up to see where that ammonium nitrate is. Ammonium nitrate is one of the easiest explosives to make. It's used in commercial mining all the time. So I mean, that's kind of due diligence. But the thing is, like,
speaking of ammonium nitrate, our bass player Mikey, his profession is in gardening and lawn care, and he actually has to have a government issued clearance to go and buy fertilizer.
And that's why. That's because of the ammonium nitrate. So most explosives are high in nitrates. But anyway, the moral of the story is that they started tracking that after Oklahoma City. They're actually starting to talk about doing it with pressure cookers, where if somebody buys multiple pressure cookers, say with a credit card, then that's going to flag something, right?
That's insane.
But I mean, like, I've never bought a pressure cooker in my life. It sounds like Damien just bought his first pressure cooker. But what I'm saying is this: is that having, for my time overseas, make a bomb out of anything, right? Now, when I was in Iraq, for example, they used all kinds of crazy stuff to make bombs, and some were more effective than others, and that includes ammonium nitrate once they started running out of conventional explosives. But more importantly, you had an individual or individuals, depending on whether or not this guy's going to be connected to a cell, which wouldn't surprise me, and they set the devices in extremely populated places on the East Coast where, like, for example, that 5K, if they want to postpone that run and that device would have went off, that could have been worse than the Boston Marathon bombing.
Do you think there was a connection between the fact that it was a Marine 5K run?
It'd be a pretty big slap in the face to American Armed Forces, so it wouldn't surprise me. Just a little jab there. But what I'm saying is this: is that the FBI, the ATF, or basically all the federal agencies, they're doing their absolute best. And I guarantee this country's had a lot of near misses over the last 10 years. But the most dangerous terrorist is not the terrorist that's part of a cell. It's the terrorist that's doing the lone wolf attacks.
Oh, yeah.
And what I look at this is that significantly better at their propaganda. If you watch some of their propaganda videos, the production value is phenomenal.
Oh, they're slick.
Amazing production value, which is a lot different than like when the war began and it was like really grainy and shaky and everything like that. What I'm saying is, like, they're starting to influence more lone wolf attacks. You had ISIS claim responsibility for the mall stabbing, right, with the Somali gentleman.
Yep.
So what I'm saying is that they can accomplish their goal just the same. They don't have to have highly organized, highly trained cells. They can still accomplish what they need to by just getting the information out there and converting people via the internet. So, I mean, to me, it's scary, and it's just another reason that everyone needs to carry, if you can legally carry, and carry a med kit. If you can't carry a gun, at the very least, carry a med kit, one and about your person. Like, you had this train wreck up in Hoboken. Like, if that comes out tomorrow that was an act of sabotage and related to a terror incident, it would not surprise me in the least. But when you have multiple people wounded, or yourself or your family, having a first aid kit is one of the best things you can have if you can't have a gun. Sometimes having a first aid kit is more important than having a gun. But
I'm saying, like, the best part is also, even if you don't know how to use it, there might be somebody who does.
Yeah, that's very, very true. But I'm just saying, it's like, it's a scary time. It's a scary world that we live in. If you look at the last couple of years, ever since we pulled out of Iraq and we've pretty much neutered our guys in Afghanistan, these things have been happening more and more in American soil. And it's not a prediction. It's not a prophecy. It's definitely going to continue to happen here in America. So stay safe and go prepared.
I agree, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going on right now all around us. All you got to do is look back at the news for the last 5 days.
It's an appalling amount of stuff.
Yeah, it's shocking.
Jake, you're muted, dude. We can't hear you at all.
Thank you.
There you go. You're welcome.
It's amazing, just 2 weeks, how many incidents have occurred. Many of them seemingly very similar, possibly connected. And it's just, especially if you live in an urban area, it's just really concerning how quickly things can go badly.
Well, I live in Chicago. I work in Chicago, and on Western Avenue, about 2 blocks south of Ogden Avenue. About 2 weeks ago, I was on my motorcycle coming back from lunch, and I clearly heard a gunshot. And I was sitting at a red light, and of course, I was first in line, and I just blasted right through the red light to get the hell out of there, because I knew what was going on. And there was no news story afterwards or anything. It was just a random gunshot in Chicago, like everybody hears almost every day.
That's funny that you say that, because the significance between the random gunshot where you are to, for instance, last week when I'm sitting here in my home office, I went outside after a 2-hour conference call. I look outside, I see a whistle pig, aka groundhog, about 110 yards from here. So I walk back into my office, I grab my 270, open my front door, go outside, lay on the ground, and I proceeded to blow the hell out of that whistle pig. And there's a big difference, because not one of my neighbors would even think twice about hearing that sound, because I live between 2 farms and I live out in a rural area. So that's the big difference. Like Nate lives in a rural area, I live in a rural area, Adam lives in a pretty rural area. Jake, I don't know about you. Oh, I thought you did, Adam.
Not at all. If I walked out back and popped off a shot, the cops.
Oh, so you're in the city,
right?
Okay.
Quick.
What about you, Jake? Jake, are you in the city or are you in a rural area like me and Nate?
Yeah, personally, I live in town, so yeah, I couldn't go shoot anything.
Well, I'm just saying the relevance is that it's 2 different kind of feels. Like here, no one's going to call the police if they hear a gunshot ever. But like, in the city,
I mean, like Baraka, where you live is beautiful, beautiful country. And like I like where I have. Like, I had a 4th of July party when we were shooting machine guns and the cops didn't come.
Nope, it was
but
awesome.
Like, I mean, it's I'm not gonna lie, it's nice living in the country where I'm at. Like when I see people or I see vehicles that I don't recognize, it's like it stands out more than when I lived in the city, But like, it's great too, because I do the same thing. Like I see a groundhog outside, I grab my rifle like Barack and go and execute with extreme prejudice. Like, I've killed so many groundhogs. I got a letter from Amnesty International. They're gonna send people in.
Dude, I've killed a total of 20 in the last 3 years, man. 20 groundhogs.
Save the groundhogs.
Primary carrier of rabies in North America. A lot of people don't know that. But
I'm limited to my air gun here within city limits when I see critters out on my 1.5 acres. I got one of the biggest piece of properties in the area.
Nice.
It's urban all around, and I got this nice little patch of land, but I can't shoot a gun. So I got a little obstacle course set up back there with targets for my air guns and stuff.
There you go.
I can't shoot a firearm back there.
Hey, we just had a young lady win the Olympics right here in Virginia for air rifle, right down an hour away in Springfield. So hey, nothing wrong with the air rifle. You can get those little chipmunks and squirrels and stuff.
Damon, I have a question for you, right? And this kind of segues into our next category about. There's been all these police shootings, right? So like in the last week, we spent more time talking about the 2 different shootings, the one in Tulsa and the one down in Georgia, than people have really talked about the pipe bombs and the terrorist attacks.
That's true.
But I mean, Chicago's leading the country right now in murders and crime.
Yeah.
How come we don't see? Why don't we see the protests in Chicago like we see in Tulsa and elsewhere?
We did. The Laquan McDonald case produced about 2 nights of protests, but it was nothing like you saw in Charlotte. It was basically peaceful marches that the people in Chicago did. I mean, they blocked off a couple freeways, but there were no shootings. There wasn't any violence. There wasn't any lootings. Nothing like that. But then again, the Chicago police have a reputation for shooting first and cleaning up later. So that might have had a lot to do with it,
Right, but like the murder, it's up to over 500 now, right?
For this year, it is well over 500, if I'm not mistaken. It's
but we are
3,300 shootings, not necessarily
wow.
fatal.
That is insane. 3,300 shoot. And I mean, the bottom line is because it doesn't fit the narrative. All of these places are democratic strongholds that have these large numbers of executions and murders, and they're all black on black crime. And that's why they don't say anything because, well, I wouldn't say
black
all,
on black crime.
it's a lot.
But right now, they just found another severed head in one of our
What?
lagoons. In one of our lagoons in Chicago, we have parks. The park district has lagoons. And I don't know if you guys recall, but about 6-7 months ago, a child's head was found in one of the lagoons, and now some other guy's head was found in a lagoon. They drained the lagoon and found a bunch of other body parts. To me, that smacks of cartel activity.
Yeah, definitely. That's
Yeah, that's kind of their signature. No, I have not heard about any severed parts being.
Oh yeah.
This is all news to me.
I heard about the head.
Yeah, it's about a week ago. The latest severed head was dredged up out of a lagoon here in Chicago.
wow, man. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I literally drive through the Ogden district and the Lawndale district on my way to work on a daily basis, and it's a war zone, man. It's literally a war zone.
Are you guys allowed to conceal and carry there where you are in Chicago? Because I was always. Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
You guys have limited magazine capacity, like 7 rounds or no? Oh, because you would definitely not want that there. I mean, I carry a 17-round mag plus 1 in the chamber on my 17, and then the Terran tactile extension plus 5. So I've got 22 and then 17. Yeah, I carry.
Well, after Heller versus DC, Illinois, to their credit, they put in a really good program for getting qualified for your CCW, and once you do, you can carry as many guns as you want, as much ammo as you want.
I'm surprised to hear that, but that's good for Chicago. Thank God.
Is that a relatively recent change then?
Well,
within
the Illinois carry law itself did away with all the local magazine limits for handguns.
Right. Yeah, the state statute supersedes any kind of local ordinances that they pass.
Nice.
That's a win for the good guys then.
Huge win.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, it takes me back to my theory, and which I think Illinois is adhering to, that the CCW program here is almost like a well-organized militia.
Well, I mean,
they know
the more good guys we get out there with handguns, the better. I mean, that's the case with the mall stabbing. You had a gentleman use his concealed carry pistol to take the stabber down before he could hurt anybody. He stabbed 10 people. Wow. I mean, it doesn't take very long.
Did you see the pictures of the victims? They had some pretty big slices taken out of their bodies.
Wow, that's unfortunate.
But I mean, like, if that gentleman would have been there to stop the guy with the knife, I mean, how many more people could that guy have hurt? So I'm just saying, it's like, it's not just the responsibility of off-duty cops. What is with this? Apologize.
Autoplay.
I hate autoplay when we're doing this.
This segment brought to you by Autoplay and the.
So Jake, because Nate is like hitting the perfect segue. Are we into the I am offended? Because I want to talk about the with the concealed carry permit. Okay, well I guess wait. I'll bite my tongue on that one though.
Not yet. Let's get into Clinton-Trump debate exposes. Their debate exposes too few disagreements on gun rights.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Some companion stories here. Clinton brings up gun control. Trump advocates stop and frisk. No fly list applied to gun rights. Will be a 2A infringement. And Silencer co-founder speaks with Donald Trump Jr. on the 2A.
Yeah, he really ruined his chance to shine on that one, right? Like,
yeah, he did.
Like, I didn't agree with the stop and frisk that was going on in New York, because I consider that unreasonable search and seizure,
Absolutely.
right,
Yeah,
Adam? That's unconstitutional, right? But
I would say so, but
he kept insisting that it was a good thing and that it helped and dropped crime. Which,
well, his argument was when they instituted it in New York, it was knocked down as unconstitutional by a liberal judge, and they gave up the fight for it, and he says that it would have, if they went on appeal, that it would have been passed. That's his argument.
But regardless, he was advocating something that I don't think any of us want. I don't want to have it where I'm walking down the street and a cop, for no reason at all, chooses to stop and search me.
Nope.
I view that as unconstitutional. So I don't like him advocating that.
Yep.
And then they talked a little bit about and this is why they love the clever little sayings that sound cute, like no fly, then no buy. Like if you can't fly because you're on the no fly list, then
without due process,
then you can't buy a gun.
Right.
Which,
Yeah.
which was just like another constitutional issue, because how did you get on that list in the first place?
That's
Like,
right.
you might not know that you're on that list until you buy a
Nope.
plane ticket and literally show up at the airport and try to get on an airplane, and somebody
And
pulls you.
how do you
out
get
of line.
How do you
the
get off
list?
the list? It's more important. Exactly.
Yeah,
Adam.
the whole thing. We've talked about the no fly, no buy here before, and no, just knock this nonsense off.
So
But
they want
stop
to
it.
talk about having a Second Amendment right, but violating your Fourth Amendment, and so that makes no sense. Dude.
So he kind of somewhat redeemed himself a little bit by saying that there needs to be a process to get people off that list if you're falsely put on that list. So like he tried to like help himself out a little bit with it. But either way, it's like I was expecting a little bit more pro-gun stuff out of Trump. And I think I can't say that I was expecting Hillary to be a little bit more anti-gun than she already was, because I think she's just trying to hide her hand. She realizes that's not going to help her right now.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me 1 minute, guys. I'll be back in 30 seconds.
It was very. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's like I'm watching the debate. I watched it online because I couldn't watch it the other night when it was live. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, neither side is doing a very good job articulating what they actually feel here about virtually any of the issues.
Articulated anything.
Yeah,
Like
they've
that's
been-
that's
it was a
exactly what I'm
clown show.
saying. I'm watching this. I'm like, these are the two best people that this country of over like 350 million have to offer. These are the two best people. Seriously. Like neither one could draw a complete sentence or convey an exact thought. So I don't know. I'm not in support of either one of them, and I'm gonna have to figure out what I want to do for election day, because right now it's like I don't know what my moral compass is going to push me to.
So it comes down to it's all about the judges to me. And
Yeah,
it
me
seems
too. The
like
Supreme Court judges, and Hillary wants to.
we
put
know
liberal
exactly what
judges.
we're going to get with Hillary when it
I
comes
agree.
to Supreme Court nominations, and
We're right there, Jake. Right with you.
and
But that's the thing. It's like with Trump's kind of like, he is kind of that wild card in a way. Like, what I just don't want it to be like where everybody votes for Trump and Trump gets elected, and we all end up like we all got bamboozled. We all got tricked into it, and it turns out that he's just as bad, or no progress is made. And see, that's the thing I'm saying. It's like, regardless,
Right.
like
He's,
when you choose
he's a little ambiguous.
when you choose the lesser of two evils, you're still choosing evil, and that's kind of how I feel like this. And I like the third party, Gary Johnson, going off the deep end of insanity there. Like, there's really no viable option that I feel 100% good about, right? And I don't like that there's nobody that I feel 100%, or I would settle for like 60% good about at this point. But I don't know. It's aggravating, and you look at it right now where it doesn't matter if it's somebody that's on the far left or the far right. Really, nobody's happy. Nobody's happy with the options that have been given to them. And it's funny because increasingly I'm hearing more and more of the same concerns worded in different ways from completely opposite ends of political beliefs. It's like this country is just flat out fed up, and we want actual change. And if we put somebody that's not going to do good by this nation in office for another 8 years, that's another 8 years of lost time that we're never going to get back. Like, to me, like, that time is just as valuable as the policies. 8 years of continuing to circle the drain. Then when you look back on it, like, well, like 16, 20 some years of not any good progress, but backsliding, you can't make up for that.
Well, a Trump presidency isn't just for 4 years. The Republican Party is going to be involved in picking the new justices, because we have an aging court. It's down how many members? 2 members right now. That, to me, is the most important issue, because that goes on for the next 40 years.
So it turns everybody it basically turns everybody into a single issue voter then.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Let's just pray. That's all we can do. Leave it in the hands of God and see what
Adam, what do
happens.
you think? What do you like as far as this goes? Because you're being a little too quiet for my liking. Yeah.
Well, the
See those
NRA
wheels turning.
Well, the NRA endorsed Trump, so we know what Adam thinks already.
Yeah, there you go. That's my official position.
Mr. Ruger endorsed 10-round magazines, so
I don't know what there is to say. I mean, at this point, South Park put it best, actually.
oh, South Park fan, right on.
Yeah, if you watch South Park, your choices between turd sandwich and giant
douche,
and that's it. And I mean, in the simplest.
Adam, did you see last season when they went to the gun show where it was kind of like a dog show? It's like, here's Mrs. Sanders with her 13-millimeter Glock, and she's petting it, and they're saying just totally wrong nomenclature for the guns and stuff. It was hilarious.
It's an amazing show that has great social commentary. But I mean, realistically, I feel like that's what we're left with. And as some of the other guys here have said, like with Hillary, you know what you're getting. You absolutely know what you're getting. With Trump, I have no idea what I'm getting because
you do Forrest Gump. Life's like a box of chocolate.
I know in the past he said things that I definitely don't agree with. I know currently he said things that I definitely don't agree with. But I don't know at the end of the day how much damage he could actually effectuate or whether he would even attempt to. But let me put it this way: nobody who is left standing is my choice.
That's the aggravating. There's so many good men and good women that should have gotten that nomination. Say like Sheriff David Clark or General Mattis, or a good honorable person.
Right on.
That has leadership experience and actually loves America and preferably has taken an oath to the U.S. Constitution at some point in their life.
Condoleezza Rice would have been good too, dude. Condi would.
Oh yeah.
All day, brother.
All right, keep moving along here. Shots fired. NRA doubles down on attack against Cander's 2A record. This is a race going on currently in Missouri between an incumbent Republican senator and this new kid on the block, Jason Kander, who released a video showing how he supports the Second Amendment, and he is blindfolded, and he
I thought he was trying to show his military credibility, but he's got a poor record on voting on 2A, right?
Right. So he's got a video blindfolded assembling an AR-15 rifle.
Right.
That's kind of a douche move.
That doesn't give you credibility.
No, it doesn't. But it does to him. That's the problem. He thinks it does.
Yeah, it seems ego-driven. It seems ego-driven, almost.
Is it his AR-15? That's a good question right there.
Don't know.
Because he could seriously benefit by having some Connect Development Group parts on that gun. It's kind of bare. Maybe throw a grip stop on it, you know? I mean, I would expect somebody making good money working for the government to have a little something more than just a bare bones AR. Like, it's terrible. Is that a BSA red dot? Seriously?
Yeah, there you go. Awesome.
I just don't understand this doesn't add credibility to anything. So you can blindfold,
but think about how many minds that went through, Adam, of people who think they know about guns that sat and said, "Dude, that's an awesome idea, man. Hell yeah, putting it together shows like you know what you're doing, and you're confident." And they're all like, "Yeah." And then I guarantee it went through some kind of committee process where they.
It reminds me of that episode of Lock and Load with R. Lee Ermey, where he had the two guys stripping down an AK-47 and an M16. And they were blindfolded, and he walked up behind the guy doing the AK-47. He took a couple parts, and the guy was trying to put together. He's like, "I seem to be missing something."
Awesome.
So this Kander guy, he's a Hillary supporter.
Yep.
He's a supporter of universal background checks and other common sense restrictions.
I hate that word more than anything. Common sense and law.
He's really going after the gun vote here, trying to appear all pro-gun, pro-military, pro-veteran.
So here's the deal with common sense, right? And this is going to be my argument going forward, and I hope other people pick up on it, and I hope you give me credit for it, right? You want to talk about common sense gun control. Here's some common sense. Teach children about guns. Explain to them how they work, safe handling of them, and
take
what
away
to
the
do if you
mystique.
find one.
All right, well, here's the answer right here. The dude got his law degree at Georgetown, where he joined ROTC, and enlisted the National Guard.
Nope,
and
everything's that you.
and then he volunteered to go to Afghanistan, where he served as a lieutenant, and he ended up getting the Outstanding Junior Officer of the Year award from his unit, and received honorable discharge with the rank of captain in 2011. So, I mean, like, the Georgetown part right there gets me. I'm like, okay, now I see your true nature. But you would have thought that the Guard, especially a combat deployment in Afghanistan, would have beaten that nonsense out of him, but apparently not.
But to Adam's point, I just wanted to bring something up. To Adam's point, he's exactly right. You know, we're always pushing education. Last Sunday, I had a family, mother, father, their daughter who's in college at George Mason currently, and their son who's 15, and they brought their 3-year-old Luke. Well, my daughters were watching Luke while I was going over and doing a basic safety class with them, and safety fundamentals and mindset. And their son was across the room, and my daughters are playing Wii with him, and he's dying to come over, but we have a table full of guns and things like that. And I told the parents, I said, listen, this is a perfect opportunity now. I said, if you guys have guns in your house, do you see how he wants to see them? I said, tell him that he can come over and see them anytime he wants, as long as mommy or daddy is there, and you show him where to point them and things like that. Because he's like, Daddy, I want it to pew pew. That's what he was saying. Pew pew, Daddy, I want the pew pew. So after I explained that to them, they let him come over. They said, Luke, this is the way. You cannot. They kept saying it over and over. There was 10 different guns, and said, you cannot point it at anyone. You must always come get mommy or daddy. And he's like, can I touch that one? Can I touch that one? And once he touched them all, he was happy. And then he went away and went back to playing. But what was driving him is his curiosity. He wanted to come over and see. And they made sure they explained it to him that this can hurt you. Mommy and daddy love you, and we don't want anything to happen to you. So as long as you come get us, you can see them anytime you want, as long as one of us are there. And I was like, you guys just taught that little boy a lot. And, you know, if more parents did that, I mean, because according to the anti-gun people, we were automatically, you know, those 10 guns, and he was 20 feet away. Oh my God, he's in danger. My kids were in danger. His kids were in danger. We were all in danger. Who knows what one of those crazy guns might have got up and attacked us.
I think, is anybody going for, like, running for the Senate says anything negative about guns, you can't expect anybody that supports the Second Amendment to back that guy. So, I mean, not to segue back to the original topic, but that's exactly what I'm doing. Like, the guy, it sounds like the guy proverbial shot himself in the foot by his voting record, and he's trying to make up for it with a lame video.
And his opponent, Blunt, is calling him on it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, they produced a video showing Candor reassembling the AR, but then a bunch of other people doing it too. And there's something to the effect that you know, all these other people can also reassemble an AR-15, but they're not Hillary supporters. So they kind of jab back at him. We'll have to see how this hammers out in the election. But, you know, a place like Missouri, you got to be, you know, I got to think you got to be pretty pro-gun to get elected in most places. Court rules 3D printing not protected under First Amendment. And
shouldn't be.
Companion story, firearms industry distance itself from Cody Wilson and 3D printed guns.
I have a background in the CNC industry and the EDM industry, and I don't see how diagrams fall under free speech at all. I just don't see it making a connection.
It's the exchange of information. So if I wanted to give you the blueprints to make an AR-15 loader, is that illegal for me to hand you a piece of paper with a spec sheet?
Depends.
What I'm saying is it's something that you're legally allowed to make in your own house.
Yeah, but it depends. ITAR controlled.
No,
I don't have a Mazak.
ITAR is not international. Everybody has this misconception that ITAR only applies to exports. That's not true at all.
So what domestically does ITAR affect then?
Well, let me rephrase that. ITAR can have an effect on the continental U.S. You can't export technical data or defense services or defense products to foreign persons. So if you where you make KDG stuff, you brought a foreign person, so a non-U.S. citizen.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is, like, as somebody that worries about import and export, right, and in regards to my company, yes, I understand that. What I'm saying is, Adam Kraut, are you a PA citizen and a U.S. citizen?
Yeah, I am.
Can I sell you an AR-15 on a parking lot?
Yeah, duh. You could also give me
Okay.
one. I do accept
Right.
free.
What I'm saying is, so what's the difference between me literally selling you a gun or gifting you an AR-15 and me giving you a piece of paper with how to build your own? And then you can go home and with a mini mill or a drill press, make your own gun.
In that
Any
context,
decent
I don't think
4-year apprentice tool maker can figure out how to machine a gun.
What I'm saying is any idiot criminal can go online and figure out how to make a shotgun with $20 of parts from Home Depot. So what difference does it make?
Mhm.
Here's my thing. It's like because of the whole 1984
I agree.
mentality of limiting information. I think it's the same way. Like I think every drug in the world should be legal. I think heroin should be legal, just like I think all the information in the world should be distributable. Because, well, one, if heroin's legal, then more people will die and there'll be more parking spots for me. And then two,
Just
information.
lanes opening up on the freeway.
But the more information is distributed, like, I believe that power is knowledge, and every single tyrannical government in the world has restricted private own of arms, and they've restricted information. Those are the 2 steps to a tyranny. So for me, it's like, what do I care? And it's like the guns that you can 3D print are terrible guns. It's a polymer AR loader that's not going to last very long, and a single shot Derringer. Oh, congratulations, you're stopping the bad guys from getting guns. It's ridiculous. You can go to machinist school for 2 years and figure out how to make a belt fed.
Absolutely.
Knowledge is power. So you can't download the plans for an AR-15 receiver, but you can go to trade school and learn how to run a CNC and make whatever you want. Okay, that makes sense.
So interesting bit of information in the second article here about Cody Wilson and his company, Defensive Distributed. The National Shooting Sports Foundation turned down. They tried to be members of the NSSF, and they turned them down. They said I lost it here.
The whole thing is that they're putting distance.
I think they turned them down, rightfully so. They should have turned them down because,
they said that
they
would not. That Defense Distributed would not further the objectives of the foundation in the promotion of firearms, ammunition, hunting, and shooting sports industry.
Thank you, Adam. Yep,
no problem.
So, do you guys think that? Do you think that's the case here with Cody Wilson and his company? They're not furthering the promotion of the firearms industry?
What I would like to know is how many hood rats are like, hey, we better go sell more crack so we can buy a 3D printer so we can print our own GATs to go commit crimes with. I would love to know how often that happens, where a bunch of criminals get together and make their own guns.
That's too much work. It's much easier to go steal it from you and you
listen. I walked into villages where I saw 13-year-old children making AK-47s with hand tools. Right? So, to me, information is power. I don't believe in restricting information. I don't believe in banning books. I don't believe in limiting files and downloads and everything else. This is no different. It's an AR-15 receiver and a Liberator Derringer pistol from.
But who's afraid of it?
I'm not saying that they should be limited from sharing their information. I don't think they should be limited.
The government's not scared about criminals getting access to this information. They're scared of people like us getting access to this information.
That's right. You got it, Nate. You hit.
That's why I'm opposed to it. It's
it's out of fear. You're right.
Here's the thing. It's I am a complete law-abiding citizen. Everything I do is letter of the law. I serve my country. I've done a lot for my country, right? So I am very careful, and I have to be mindful of the laws so that I know that I don't break the law, right? If you didn't know much about, it's really easy to accidentally break the law, particularly when it comes to firearm stuff, right? I've seen
you almost can't leave the house without breaking a law,
right? So we have this responsibility to know the law, often better than, particularly firearms laws, than many people that are law enforcement officers.
That's
so
true.
What I'm saying with that is that the criminals don't regard that. They're going to make guns. They're going to steal guns. They're going to do illegal stuff no matter what. The one thing they're not going to do is go download a file and go buy a 3D printer and try to print a polymer AR-15 loader. That's ridiculous. When we just talked about them breaking into a police car with a brick to get a shotgun or a rifle that way. The KISS principle applies to criminals 100%. This is a bigger thing. And that's what I'm saying. I look at it as an exchange of information. It's an exchange of information, and the government wanting to limit information.
You're totally swaying me. Yeah, you're bringing me over. Yeah.
So let's go over to Nevada. Nevada bans hunting with tracking point and large calibers because it's not sporting, quote unquote.
Did you check the sources on this article?
Should I have checked the physical guns?
Oh, that's
sources?
not a hunting rifle. That's a sniper rifle.
I think
That's right. Drag them into it. Good work. You get it.
It's probably better to have a non-sporting, clean, humane kill than a sporting wounded deer that dies of infection a week later.
But taking your higher to target the higher thinking, like you were on the other issue, who is this really targeted at? Are they really worried about hunting? Or are they worried about long range sniping?
Yeah, but the bottom line is, in Vietnam, what were they using? The same rifles I have on my wall: 270s, 308s, hunting rifle 30-30,
308 bolt action Winchester 70 and Remington 700.
It seems like to me somebody on the anti-gun side is minutely going over and chipping away at whatever they can.
Yeah, I can see that point of view where it's saying like we don't want people making guns that are easier to shoot.
Adam, did you disagree with this article?
No, I didn't read this article. I saw where it came from.
Oh, so he's saying
that's all I'm going to say about that.
So Nevada here, they have specifically singled out electronic sighting system or electronically controlled firing systems. The regulation is laser focused on tracking points, precision guided firearms. But here's the other crazy thing. They have also banned some ammunition, any ammunition with a case length longer than 3 inches, which right there it eliminates a bunch of traditional hunting cartridges.
Well, longer. Well, not really. That's like, okay, so a Win Mag cartridge is that long, but a 30-30, 30-06, and 270 are all underneath those. Same with 308. So, but yeah, the bigger calibers like the Win Mag and the 50 cal and the 338 Lapua, those are all longer than that. So yeah, you're right.
The real question is, have they banned going out into the woods to go hunting and putting a blindfold on and then shooting at twig snapping? Are you allowed to do that?
So,
because I find that a very sporting way. You give the animal a huge chance by putting a blindfold on. like heaven forbid you actually increase your likelihood of a hit in some way or the other.
So
the thing that jumped out at me about this story, what I heard between the lines was thermal sights, electronic sights, thermal sights. Maybe they don't want people possessing thermal sights where you can, not see visually, but you can bring it into your sights with a heat signature.
Thermal sights they're very popular right now, especially with sport hunting down south for hunting pigs.
Yeah,
but maybe they're chipping away at this hunting ordinance to eliminate that kind of technology.
Yeah, it's very strange because Nevada has some pretty liberal gun laws. I mean, they're pretty gun-friendly states, so it's strange for them to pursue this. It sounds like it's a misguided thing that somebody got in their head and pursued and got signed into law over. Good intentions, bad judgment is what it sounds like.
So it seemed like it's the Wildlife Commission kind of just coming up with these rulings.
I'm going on a deer hunt in October where I'm only allowed to use a shotgun.
Well, that's so different counties, and I'll explain to you that. So we have that in some of the counties here in Virginia, and the reason being, like, over in some of the counties here, there were some very irresponsible hunters using high-power rifles, and there was too many areas.
What's a high-powered rifle?
Well, okay.
I only own low-power rifles.
Okay, so. Adam, hush. They were going through houses and they were killing people, and that was the problem. So with the shotgun, it disperses, so it doesn't go as far and things like that. That's their mindset on it.
There's certain counties here in Pennsylvania. I live in one, and the other 3 that are surrounding me, you can't hunt with rifle either, and it's due to the population density.
Exactly.
Isn't one of the mass shootings last week was a guy who stole his father's rifle, killed his dad, and he went and he shot. It was the school shooting where 2 6-year-olds got shot in the foot, and a teacher got winged. Or it was a 22 rifle. The story I'm thinking about it was a 22 LR.
That was 2 days ago, dude. That wasn't last week.
Yeah, that was a couple days ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, you got it.
What are the details on that?
I don't know, but hold on. I want to go back to the hunting thing. Ethical hunting is one shot, one kill. You're supposed to kill the animal, put it down, double lung, headshot, whatever it is to put the animal so it doesn't suffer. So you don't go and plug away, shoot multiple times and destroy the meat. You're supposed to be eating it. I mean, it's supposed to be making the animal not suffer.
So let a bear bleed out, have to kill it with a spear.
Anything, well, here's the bottom line. If you're going to kill with a spear, that's fine, but you have to go up and finish it off. You can't just sit there and let it bleed out.
Under Armour doesn't feel that way.
So, I mean, the bottom line is ethical hunting is making sure that the animal doesn't suffer. You don't wound, you shoot to kill. One shot, one kill.
And I see where you're going with this, Brock. And that applies to regardless of what weapon you're using, what device you're using to harvest that meat. You have that responsibility to ensure the animal doesn't suffer. I agree with that 100%.
Exactly.
And also, if you're not going to eat it or give the food to somebody that the meat to somebody that is going to eat it, then you have no business taking that animal's life.
100%.
I'm significantly more sympathetic to animals than I am to a lot of these dirtbags that out there commit violence. But I look at it like this, like mankind hunted animals with spears for 13,000 years until a couple hundred years ago, some dudes over in Asia came up with this thing called gunpowder. So it's like, just like you have bad shots, like if you make a bad shot, you have the responsibility to finish the animal off. And that goes with archery. That goes with if you're hunting. I have no problem with people hunting with spears. I mean, I consider that very close to the natural order of things. There's still tribesmen in the Amazon that do that.
Yes, they do.
But the spirit of the animal and all that stuff, I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't understand this. Because tracking point systems are extremely expensive. They're like $10,000 guns.
Right.
And they're supposed to make you a more effective shooter. Right. So, I mean, whatever. Like I said, this whole thing sounds kind of weird. We could go down that slippery slope of conspiracy theories. I don't think that's what it is. I think it's probably them not understanding what the technology is.
That's what it is.
Some do-gooder.
That's a dangerous assumption, my friend. I think there's forces out there that are chipping away at whatever they can chip away at.
We all see that, Damon. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying that I would say this is one of those issues where we should keep our eye on it, but we don't have enough information to go off of. Let's put it that way.
That's true. I agree.
Copy that.
HKparts.net owner convicted and could face 33 years in prison.
This guy's a knucklehead.
Not surprised.
It's been a long time coming. I'm surprised he hasn't gone to prison already.
He was walking that thin line, dude, for a while.
Well, I think 2 years ago he got caught with over 200 guns, even though he was a prohibited person.
What made him a prohibited person?
I think, if I recall correctly, he was prohibited, or the alternative was he was dealing in firearms without an FFL. Either way, he was doing something he shouldn't have been doing.
I think at first he was dealing firearms under the auspices of an S corporation that was headed by another individual, and he was trying to go under the radar. And I don't like that. I don't like going under the radar. Be on the up and up.
Right.
Yeah, transparency is important, especially with
it says he was barred from even applying for a federal firearms license, whatever that means.
It depends what you've done, but there is the potential that ATF can tell you you can't ever apply for a license.
Wow.
August of 2014, the ATF seized hundreds of guns, including over 200 HKP7s from this dude.
Yeah.
How do you even get 200 P7s without an FFL?
The money? And
no, it's not about the money. The money's the easy part. How do you take possession of 200 P7s without an active federal firearms license? How is that even possible?
You can buy them as a corporation. There's nothing that prevents you. I don't know how he did it, but if you've ever been to HK Parts, prices are always kind of a little salty, but they usually have pretty much anything you could ever want related to an HK. Concern from HK enthusiasts anyway as to whether or not the website will continue to exist. And my understanding was after he was indicted, or even I think possibly before he was indicted, my understanding was they switched the corporate structure a while before, and it'll continue to run as is. But with ATF, who knows? Maybe they'll find a way to be able to go after the company too.
Very interesting. So Stealth Gear USA, we welcome Stealth Gear USA, new sponsor of This Week in Guns. Great American company based out of Utah, Stealth Gear USA. Great holster company. wanted to share a little bit here. The founder, Paul, he started the company back in 2012. So fairly new company, but man, they've just taken off in popularity. Paul Leland he founded this company after he had a holster fail him.
Serpa.
A Serpa. Well, it says it was a mainstream holster. He doesn't actually publicly say what kind of holster it was, but he does say it was a mainstream big brand name holster that it failed on him when he was in a store and the loaded firearm fell out onto the floor, scaring a few people.
I would argue that go on.
So Paul, he decided he needed to build a better holster, and so he did that with Stealth Gear USA, a breathable vent core holster. I can hold this up right here. So it's got a breathable mesh back here, which is very comfortable, and it's not like the leather or all Kydex holsters where it's very non-breathable, where it's can collect sweat. This allows sweat to wick away. Holding up here, actually a magazine carrier, but the holster backs are the same material here. So he developed this kind of unique design because he looked, after that holster failed, he looked around on the market. He looked at the hybrid holsters out there, hybrid being a leather and Kydex combination, and he looked at the all leather ones, and he just wasn't satisfied with anything on the market. So he started looking at some different alternatives and came up with this breathable vent core design. Really no other holsters on the market like it. Hand built in America. Every Stealth Gear USA is custom molded to fit your exact firearm, which I'm a big believer in, having a holster that's molded to your exact firearm. I know you guys are as well. Nate, you carry every day, and I'm sure you wear a holster that is molded to your firearm, not some universal piece of junk, right?
Oh yeah, I I learned that Uncle Mike's is I learned that when I was 14. So
right,
yeah, like having a holster that's actually fit to the particular gun, regardless of what brand. And like I have heard of Stealth Gear. They have a really good reputation. They have some pretty unique designs. They have some more mainstream designs too, but I think they make quality stuff. I haven't used it personally, but there seems to be a lot of happy customers out there. So,
absolutely.
Yeah,
and
if you try to buy one holster that works with every gun you own, you're setting yourself up for failure. So,
well, and that's a mistake a lot of newer gun owners make. They pick up a gun and they're in Cabela's. They're like, I need to get a holster for this, and then there's all.
It's only $20. Let me get that one.
Right. Hey, I already spent $250 on this Taurus. I don't see the point in spending more than $20 on a holster.
That's watched an instructor zero video, and I can use my sock. I mean, the sock works perfect.
That's literally the hardest part of selling guns to people. When you ask, do you need a holster? Are you looking for a holster? And they say, yeah. And you go and show them a good holster and try to. If some people who have an open mind will at least listen, but explaining to them like the benefits of spending the money on a good holster so you're not buying twice, it's just some people don't get it.
The irony of this is the majority of quality custom holsters are made right here in America by Americans, and then people scoff at the price and they buy the foreign-made garbage, right?
Right.
And like you understand it, part of the reason why it's expensive is you're paying somebody for their craftsmanship and their time, and that person is a fellow American and gun enthusiast and second A supporter like you are. Like, I want to give that guy my money more than buy something made. Even if the Chinese made the best holster in the world, I still don't want it because I want to support my own people.
Absolutely. So hand built in America, and they also have an awesome 45-day no question asked guarantee. So if you get it and it just doesn't work out for you for whatever reason, they have that no questions asked. You can return it, try a different one, or get your money back, whatever you want to do. So no risk guarantee there. So we have a special promo code for This Week in Gun listeners. Go over to stealthgearusa.com and use promo code TWIG for 10% off your order. That's promo code TWIG over at stealthgearusa.com. And I'm currently wearing they have a newer outside the waistband holster that I've been wearing, and I've been enjoying it quite a bit. I haven't worn outside the waistband since I started concealed carrying a few years ago. So it's always been IWE inside. So, with winter coming on here, I felt a little more comfortable trying out the OWB design. But this OWB is really, really fits tight to your body. Really not much different as far as fitment and concealability for an inside. So check it out. StealthGearUSA.com. We'll talk a little more about Stealth Gear in upcoming episodes. I know John and Whitey are fans of them as well, and share some more info about their modular magazine, flashlight holders, and stuff like that as well. So use that promo code TWIG for 10% off, StealthGearUSA.com. So on to Smith & Wesson is eliminated from the U.S. Army's modular handgun system. And Smith & Wesson's share slumps 7% after Army's rejection.
Man, they screwed up big time.
So why do you think they screwed up?
Because whatever the standards that the U.S. Army set, they should acquiesce to, because it was going to obviously have that kind of impact on their profits.
Here's the thing: is every couple years the Army says, "Hey, we're thinking about buying a new handgun," and the entire gun industry scrambles to build a gun to that spec, so they have a chance of getting this huge contract, and then the Army always bails on it. We've been using the Beretta since the early 80s, okay? And the same thing happened. You know what? They're saying that Glock is a strong contender with the Glock 17. That gun got submitted in the 1980s pistol trial and didn't get selected because they said we can't have a gun that doesn't have a manual thumb safety. And now here it is in 2016, and we know a hell of a lot more about guns than we did back then, particularly close combat from the war in the desert. And now, like, well, the Glock 17 is not bad. We got Green Berets carrying Glock 19, so maybe we should do that. I'm looking at it like this. It's like when they put a solicitation out for a gun or some need, like, hey, we need a rifle that does this or a machine gun that does that. A lot of manufacturers look at it and they're like, this is literally not worth our time and research and development.
Gigantic investment for a company.
Yeah, you could spend millions of dollars to develop a firearm that only fits that need, and then the Army's like, thanks, but no thanks. So, like, Smith & Wesson probably, I'm not going to lie, they don't. Their heart is not broken over this. I guarantee it.
Didn't Ruger opt out because of the cost of the R&D, but then the end result of that was the Ruger American, wasn't it?
And then I think what happened was the engineers at Ruger remembered that they make terrible automatics, so they probably took themselves.
First time I fired my Ruger, it stovepiped on me.
Thanks, Ruger was going to be a sponsor of this program. But
you guys have bashed them into the ground.
I love my Ruger.
So
when I start seeing Ruger ad spots and I'm not invited back on anymore, I'll know. I'll know that you finally sold out the big gun.
Sold out. That's it.
So SIG here, the SIG P320 is really the only true modular handgun.
That's true.
Being considered here. I mean, the Glock doesn't fall into the technical modular handgun category. So what's the deal there?
The whole thing is this whole contract. The modular handgun is stupid in the first place. Okay, so let me break this down for you, Barney style. Right now, we have these people in the tippy tip of like the microscopic tip of the spear, okay, a real small community of guys with beards, and they get issued Glock 22s and 40 Smith & Wesson, okay, and they also get issued Glock 19s. But check this out: since the Glock 22 frame is the same as the 17 frame, they buy 9mm slides. So they use the 40 frame, the Glock 22 frame, to shoot both 9mm and 40, and then if they need a concealed carry weapon, they'll carry the smaller 19. That's two guns that shoot in 3 different configurations, right? At the cost of less than $1,000 to the government. So I look at the SIG, and the SIG's a cool gun, don't get me wrong, but if you go price check that and you're like, oh, I'm going to buy this one SIG, one pistol to rule it all, and you look at the conversion kits and the price of it, you're literally better off just buying a second handgun instead of buying the conversion kit. So, like, I don't even understand why, like, this is a need. Like, who's asking for this? Because I can't think of anybody in JSOC or SOCOM that would put a requirement for this.
For it.
Yeah, big Army. All right. I'm going to end this rant because it's just ridiculous.
I would think that Glock would come out on top just because of the sheer ubiquitousness of the Glock design, and there's combat going on in the United States, and there's a lot of shooters dead in a field of battle. You can just go and pick up Glock parts everywhere you step around a dead body.
A Zippo has more parts in it than a Glock handgun. That's actual fact. But the moral story is 75% of law enforcement in North America carry Glocks. 17 different countries issue it. And I'm not saying this as a Glock fanboy. I'm just saying that the gun works. Why are we trying to reinvent the wheel? Or worse yet, try to get gun companies to jump through hoops to make a weapon that nobody needs, nobody wants.
Well, and we've been talking about these stupid Army pistol trials for the last 4 years of this program, and they haven't got anywhere.
But I won't be surprised when this gets canceled because of lack of funding, like it happened the last time 5 years. If I was Smith & Wesson, I want to be upset about this. I want to be crying about it. Let your competition spend millions of dollars of R&D money to try to get a gun that doesn't get selected.
So Chris announces the Vector Generation 2 now available in 10 millimeter.
The best millimeter.
The best millimeter.
Yeah, because it's a good hunting gun. As far as hunting handguns, 10 millimeter is the way to go, man.
When you're trying to hunt the most dangerous game, yes.
It's so weird because the FBI pushed for that so hard, and here they are carrying Glock 19s.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah. You're a hell of a man stopper. You can kill a bear with a 10 millimeter.
I mean, I carry a 45 because they don't make a 46.
And you like to steal their soul with the 45.
My everyday carry is a 45.
Like, if you actually loaded a 30-round magazine full of 10 millimeter, how much money is that?
I'm trying to do it.
Adam.
If you want to use a Chris Vector, which is a pistol caliber, kind of like submachine gun, right?
Yes,
it's like a little compact weapon. So if I bought a 10 millimeter Chris Vector for a home defense gun, I can't even keep a straight face saying this. And I wanted to load a mag full of hollow point. How much money is that?
Dude, that thing is huge too. That Chris Vector is not little, Nate. That thing is huge, dude.
It uses Glock 20 mags. That's kind of cool. So it holds 15 rounds. And you 10 millimeter.
You can't. So the Chris the 45, they have a extension for it. That actually Magpul makes the extension. I found out. So John was in the shop one day and he bought one of those for his 10 mil and couldn't get it to work correctly. So I was looking around on YouTube and I'm gonna have to tweak it a little bit, but that would allow me to get 31 rounds of 10 millimeter into a magazine, and you better believe there will be a video.
Dude, the thing that makes me laugh about the Chris Vector in the first place, if it hadn't been in that one freaking sci-fi movie or whatever, it would have never taken off in the first place, because I'm sorry, that gun to me sucks. I don't like it at all. I mean, it's uncomfortable, it's big, it's awkward. I just didn't see there was a need for it. What movie was that? Do you guys remember the movie it was in?
Was there Transformers in it? I mean,
I don't remember.
Transformers movies are like the best way to launch a gun company.
I think it was. It might have been the first Transformers movie, but whatever. It was a sci-fi movie, and that's what took off with Chris Vector. It was because of that. If not for that,
the funny thing is, like, there's this resurgence right now. Like, you know, submachine guns. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody here has seen the movie Navy SEALs with Charlie Sheen, right? That movie not make you want to have an MP5 SD someday?
Oh yeah, of course.
Right? Like, I still want an MP5 SD for that reason of growing up as a child watching Charlie Sheen just smoke like bad guys with SD. But what I'm saying is, like, you're seeing all these like ARs coming out that take Glock mags. There's this whole resurgence in like pistol caliber carbines all of a sudden, and I think this is just them trying to appeal to that market. They see the writing on the wall that like you can buy a case of 9mm for cheaper than what you should buy a case of 5.56. So if you can buy an AR, you know, that takes Glock magazines, that's cool. And then there's always going to be the guys that go for the bigger and the best, and that's why they probably made this 10 millimeter. I mean, like, is it for me? No, it's not for me, but I'm not going to knock it because
it's going to be a limited market.
It's going to be a limited market, and
it'll appeal to the niche user and the niche.
John Patton will buy one. I guarantee John Patton will buy one.
That's not up his alley.
Because he has that tricked out 10 millimeter Glock, which is actually really cool. So he can share mags between his 10 mil Glock and his 10 mil Vector.
Yep.
I'm gonna call him tomorrow. I'll let you know.
Newest 22 LR from Ruger, the Mark IV.
I like that. I actually am going to buy that for my 8-year-old daughter as her first 22 LR pistol, because they finally, the way they made it simplistic as far as breaking it down, and I think it's good to go. What were you laughing at?
Well, I'm laughing because the guy at my work who cleans customer guns when they bring them in to be clean hates the Ruger Mark 1, 2, and 3 because
Of course, it's impossible.
Notoriously impossible to put back together.
Right. Yeah. He was down there the other day working on like a Mark 2, and he was cursing up a storm, ready to throw the gun across. And, he saw this. This is going to be the best thing ever. I hope everybody buys one of these.
Right. I know
they are a pain to take apart. So let me ask you this, Baraka. When your daughter grows up and she's ready to get her first CCW pistol, are you going to buy her a German Luger to carry? Because I would think that if you truly loved your children, you would buy them like a Walter like P22.
Oh my God.
So it actually represents a real gun.
She has a Walter P22. We already bought that for her. But the problem with that is, since it doesn't teach proper firearm safety, you have to pull the trigger to take down the gun. So it doesn't.
Says the man carrying a Glock.
I'm saying off target, off trigger. I know, but I'm saying as a child, you want them to get in the good reps doing the proper thing. So yes, she can graduate to that gun because I already bought that for her when she was 3. But I think the Mark IV is the way to go. So right now she's got a 10/22 and she's got that Walther. So
sweet.
Well, I can't criticize a man buying his daughter a handgun in any capacity, but
I appreciate
and
that.
I will give Ruger that it's like the one automatic pistol they make that actually does work. So, I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty cool gun. I mean,
well, both of their rifles I have here, the 10/22 and the 17 H&R.
Oh, their 22s are great. I have my first rifle I ever bought was my 10/22. I bought. I mowed lawns.
Ruger handguns were fine. They were just ugly as sin. I mean, for the most.
That explains why we see so many federal agencies issuing Ruger automatics. That's why there's so many cops in your hometown carrying Ruger automatics.
All right. Moving on. Thompson Center has a recall on their Compass bolt-action rifles.
Cool.
Which I wish Ebbs was here for this.
Yeah.
Public service announcement. Do we cover that for this week?
Yeah. Public service announcement. If you have a Thompson Center Compass bolt-action rifle, you might want to check on the recall. All right, moving on. FireClean files another lawsuit against Vuwalpen blog.
The reformulated Crisco. Is that what they said about it?
All right,
you're gonna get sued. You better watch it.
Give us a down low here.
I haven't used the product, so I don't know.
Adam, can you briefly explain what has taking place here?
So the original lawsuit got dismissed for lack of personal jurisdiction, which means that basically there was nothing that either the individuals who were sued did to avail themselves to the court in Virginia. So they didn't do business in Virginia. They didn't go to Virginia, blah, blah, blah. And there's a TGC episode where John talked to me a little more in depth to give a slightly better explanation. So it got dismissed without prejudice, meaning that FireClean could bring the lawsuit again, which is exactly what they did, only they've done it now in a different venue in Arizona, I believe. And I believe they also changed what is it? They're claiming trademark infringement rather than defamation. So we'll see where this one goes. It's going to be a whole new round of this stuff, and the for Waffen blog and TUI have to pay to defend it. So you probably could venture a guess that litigation's expensive, and even if they don't get a judgment in their favor, FireClean that is, they could certainly make these guys' lives miserable and or bankrupt them in the process.
Why does this blogger have such a vendetta against these guys?
Well, it's FireClean, and it's because the blog and TUI published a I don't want to say a paper, but an analysis alleging that FireClean had the same chemical makeup as Crisco, more or less.
Well, why is he going after him in the first place like that?
He has no business doing it. That's the problem. There's no reason to do it.
Well, the thing is that like a bottle of Crisco, like if you go buy cooking oil at your local grocery store, you can buy like a quart of it for like what, a couple bucks. But a 4-ounce bottle of FireClean is like significantly more expensive, right? So the thing is, a while back they did like a semi scientific breakdown and tried to say that it's very similar to vegetable oil or Crisco.
They did a spectral
to me-
analysis or something,
Right,
but
right.
it wasn't as in depth as one that would actually tell you the makeup or something.
The thing is that like
Yeah.
I wrote an article about lubricants back when I was a professional writer, and anyway, like I had it
Get
like
your Hemingway on.
yeah, I just had like a flashback to eating ramen noodles and like scrambling to pay my bills. So I'm so glad I'm not a professional writer anymore. But anyway, I wrote a history.
Try being a songwriter.
But I'm saying is that like I got you there, starving artist, right? But what I'm saying is that look at it like this, like we used to burn whale fat in lamps because we didn't have petroleum, okay?
Right.
And that burning of whale oil, guns existed at that time. So people used bacon grease and all kinds of vegetable-based and animal-based fats to lubricate guns, right? During World War II, the Germans and the Russians used sunflower seed oil on the Eastern Front because sunflower seed oil won't freeze or gum up like petroleum will. So I'm saying is like, who cares what it's made out of?
I agree.
The thing is
The
that
product works
like,
well.
I use synthetic Mobile One. Synthetic Mobile One is what I use on all my guns because it's
Okay.
like $5 for a quart, right? And it works perfectly fine. And like it breaks people's hearts when they find out that I use synthetic Mobile One. But
Do you
it
dilute
works for
it
me.
or anything with a solvent?
No, I don't dilute it at all. But the thing is that if you tried to sell me a 4-ounce bottle of synthetic Mobile One for like $25, and I bought it, I'm like, wow, this stuff works really great. And then later found out that it wasn't what I thought it was, some sort of like highly engineered specialty product, I would be upset about it.
But that wasn't their finding. That was the whole thing. So
That was their finding.
Back to what we were talking about earlier about supporting American companies. So Dave and Ed, they're good friends of mine who own FireClean.
And they're great guys. I've met them personally. They're good dudes.
Yeah, they're really good friends of mine, and I've been using FireClean ever since I was introduced to their product, and I'm fully supportive of them because they live literally a couple miles away from me, right down the street. And
Cool.
like I said, David Sugg, who does it full time, he puts his heart in his work, and and loves the product he has. He believes in it. He stands by it. He's never tried to do anything negative. So these guys, not only were their findings not what they were saying that they were being, then once you go and you test something and it's not what it's supposed to be, not what you thought it was going to be, and you can't go around and discredit people and try to knock their livelihood down based on what you think is, and it wasn't scientifically. There's no scientific proof backing. So in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned,
it's kind of like a defamation thing.
it is. You can't
That's
go
what they
after
sued
somebody
for originally.
right. But
What
you
I'm
can't
saying
go
is,
after
like,
someone's livelihood for no reason. Everyone's happy with their product, and it wasn't scientifically
what I'm
proven.
saying is,
A
like-
lot of the high-tech lubricants on the market today are engineered on a chemical molecular level. I don't know how valid a spectral analysis would be if it's only comparing the similarities between Crisco or vegetable oil with a particular lubricant. You would have to drill down even further and go into their chemical engineering process.
Right.
I'm just saying,
Which
my
didn't
grandfather killed a whole bunch of Nazis with his M1 Grand with grease, rifle. Okay, like what I'm saying is, like from 1900 to the 1980s, we issued a board cleaner and rifle grease, and then LSA, which is like a lightweight, semi-solid lubricant grease, a white lithium grease, came out during Vietnam. CLP came out in the 1980s because the government didn't like buying rifle cleaner and rifle grease, and then this liquid lube. Okay,
All in one solution.
what I'm saying is, like, go find, like, I've never heard any World War II story where guys complain about their guns not working because they're lubricant, right? That's all I'm saying with that. This whole story is like, yeah, I can understand both sides of the house. You had a gun writer who wanted to dig in deep because of the accusations were already there that FireClean wasn't what they said it was. So he wanted an article out of it. He kind of deflamed, or at the very least, he negatively impacted this lubricant company. But like, to me, like nobody cares about articles on the internet. I look at like they're doing themselves more of a disservice, more damage, because I've met a lot of people that think this whole situation is just silly. And if you just let it go,
they're
it go
making their
away.
money on pennies per click. So he saw a story that he could do that he thought could generate a lot of interest and get him the pennies per click Google advertising money. And yeah, this guy's.
But like I said, right down the street, you've got Dave, who does this full time for a living. He's got 3 children, and he's got his wife he supports from doing it. So, I mean,
Well, ultimately, we'll find out whether or not suing is going to cost him in the long run or not.
I think he
he
sued for $100 for a couple of his judgments were for $100 for emotion or whatever that he. But two
Yeah,
of the
what's-
amounts that stuck out were just $100, which
Yeah,
was
what's with
symbolic.
that small dollar amount, Adam? Is that just something
I something about he had launched a T-shirt endeavor, and I don't know what that was related to.
Right.
I guess they were trying to show that he had, was trying to bolster his. I guess the article says bolster his reputation in the gun community, drive more traffic to his website, social media accounts, and sell T-shirts. So I guess they were trying to claim that he was making a lot of money off this defamatory statement, when in reality it shows that he didn't really make any money. $400 is nothing in a couple of months. I think what's interesting though is George Fennell, the owner of Weapons Shield, who's been known to say negative things about the competition quite frequently, is in litigation as well with Fire Clean, and I'm curious to see where that one goes.
Well, he spoke out against their product as well, and it was funny because he's a
speaks out of
competitor.
everybody's
But
product.
but I'm just saying he's a direct competitor. So for him to
Right.
go and discredit that's like Nate makes KDG parts, and I make say I'm PWS, and I have a rail. They have the MREX, I have the PWS SRX rail, and I'm like, his rail sucks. Mine is way better. I mean, that's just, I don't know, dude. Like,
Here's some advice to everybody listening. Right, if you want to break into the gun industry, do yourself a favor. Don't become a holster maker. Don't make belts. Don't be a firearms trainer, and don't make a lubricant.
Very good.
Because these are like mine's better than yours. I don't understand why we're arguing about lubricants. Like,
I'm with
this
you.
is the most
man.
bizarre thing in the world to me.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Oh, my favorite are the fanboys of their particular flavor of lubricant. I literally, and I still to this day, use whatever is given to me for free. If
I give you some Astrogloss,
if Baraka's down with Fire Clean, I'm down with Fire
will
Clean.
run with it, yes, I will.
Astro,
slap
it doesn't work. No, Astrolite doesn't work. It's
moving
water based. It burns off.
Moving on. The
timestamp.
Reliant, a pro Second Amendment faith-based action film. Any of you guys watch a preview for this or read anything about it?
It looks like a good idea, and they got some good names if they do it right. Faith-based Second Amendment film, but these things, these Indiegogo things with these independent filmmakers, you never know what you're going to get out of that. They might never even make the movie.
It's like whenever I'm on Netflix trying to find like a new apocalypse film to watch late at night, and I'm like, yeah, and I watch it and it's terrible.
Oh, I'm watching one called Terminus right now. Is it any good, Nate?
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Okay.
So yeah, they have an Indiegogo. They got 3 days left. Currently, have 77,000 out of 175,000.
Pretty good. 77,000 is pretty excellent.
So supposedly, they have some Hollywood B or
Kevin
C
Sorbo
signed up here. I'm a little confused though. There's a trailer for it, and none of these stars are in the trailer.
I didn't see the trailer.
They didn't raise enough money to pay them yet.
At 77,000, I've had some experience in the filmmaking industry. I've done music for a couple of different films, and 77,000 is not going to get you much of a film.
No, not even close.
Tell that to the original Blair Witch Project, Damon.
Yeah.
Even on broken clocks, right twice a day.
Baraka, did you want to touch on this FCC story?
Oh, which one is that? Oh, FCC commissioner on internet oversight switch. If you cherish freedom of expression, you should be worried. So that's a slippery one because, okay, so the way they're saying that is going to go is, okay, so that's a dangerous one. What they're doing is ICANN, who's responsible for all the TLD, the top level domains, which is like .com, .net, those, they want to switch the ownership and the oversight basically of those overseas, so the U.S. doesn't own it. People were mad that the U.S. owned it and felt like we were being unfair and things like that. But the thing that worries me about it is that Obama supports it. I mean, I'm sorry, anything that Obama supports automatically makes me have, throw up a big red flag. I mean, basically, so the U.S. has handled it since 1988. It's all the top level demands, like I was saying, .com, .org, .net. those strict regulations have been eroding for some. It's been eroding for some time that the U.S. has been doing it, and now that's why they give you all those other options. Now you got like .co, this, that, .biz, this and that.
.ninja.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's like a million different ones, and then even worse when you get to the ones I can't say that are in the pornographic ones. But yeah, what I'm saying is essentially it's expiring next month, and they want it to go over. It's not. They're saying it's not going to affect content filtering or control of the internet or anything like that. So, but we'll see. I just feel like anytime you give them, an inch, they take a foot. So we'll see where they're going to elaborate on it. But again, it seems harmless, but you never know what's in there. It's just like any other bill that they give, oh, it's just a little tax bill, and it's like a phone book deep. So we'll see, man. I mean, just keep an eye on it. Pay attention.
It might be just another example of Obama giving a little bit more power to the New World Order.
Well, you never know.
All right, I'm offended section. I think
I am so stoked.
I am offended. Okay. So on the I am offended section, we start off with Virginia woman stops department store shooting. Store complains that she violated no gun policy. So this is an excellent story. This woman, 37-year-old Lisa Harris, she saved multiple lives with her concealed and carry handguns. She went in a store. There was a dude in there acting like super sketchy and erratic, running around all aggravated, and then he goes outside after about 6 minutes acting crazy in the store and pulls out a .223 caliber AR-15, goes in and starts just randomly shooting at anything in the line of sight. So this young lady, 37-year-old Lisa Harris, retrieved her own .45 caliber, Kimber Ultra Raptor handgun from her conceal and carry holster. She made her way down the adjoining aisle, came up behind the guy, shot him
4 times.
Yep, hit him in the head, the back of the head, and if it was a .45, I'm surprised anything was left of his whole upper.
Yeah, shot him in the back, the head, and the right leg.
Yep, and basically,
the head first.
Yep, and she made good hits on the guy, and the police arrived, and they said at the time he had already injured 8 people, but there was 117 individuals in the store, and basically credited her to saving all their lives because of the round capacity of the AR-15 he had. But their gripe is it was a gun-free zone. It had clearly a Beretta, picture of a Beretta. It's always the universal gun-free zone sign with a big red thing. So basically, it's like that meme that says, if I'm there, it's not it's not a gun-free zone. It's the same thing, dude. I go into malls all the time that have it written out, and I'm a law-abiding citizen. But you know what? That's their policy. It's not the state policy. It's not anyone else's policy. So all they can do is ask you to leave. But you're not going to put me in a place. Imagine if she had abided by that. I'm just saying, imagine if she had abided by that specific thing that day. That guy could have killed her and everyone else, and she would have been sitting there saying, well, God, if I only had my gun. And all those other people might have, gotten mowed down. But she saved lives. Once again, a good person saved the lives of, a good guy.
The thing is that 37-year-old Lisa Harris, there's so many awesome quotes in this article. They said when the department store told her she couldn't have her gun, she said, "Sorry, I missed orientation day." And when she gunned the rifle wielding bad guy down, she said, "I got to get home and make a casserole. I don't have time for this."
Yeah, and she used a .45.
That smells like, to me, it smacks to me that she has some training. She has some experience. She goes to the range regularly. More than likely, she probably knew her line of fire. Probably had good defensive ammo in her gun.
Yeah, and it was
this poor woman was
malfunction.
just trying to find a new pair of mom jeans, and this guy comes in with an AR-15. I'm like, she wanted to get home and watch,
And like I said, but the other thing is, she and not only that, she's old school. She's got a 1911 and a Kimber, and it didn't malfunction, and with the tight tolerances, and it was accurate. She nailed it.
Maybe she saw the Beretta sign on the door and didn't worry about it because she thought, well, I don't carry 9mm. So obviously, this obviously doesn't apply to me.
That's what I think every time I see that decal in Chicago with the picture of the Beretta with the thing. Well, I don't have a Beretta.
She had a 1911. So basically, she saved the day. Thank God, a good person with a gun stopped a bad person with a gun, and that could have happened so many times.
Bravo.
In so many places. So kudos to her, and thank God.
As much as I'm making fun of her. I agree with you 100%. This is a story I love. This is the kind of stuff I love to see. Like,
100%.
like here's the like the guy had a rifle.
Yep.
And she went up against a dude with probably, who knew what else he had, right? With a 7-shot 1911, and she faced evil and prevailed.
Yeah, and he had.
That's like you've heard
and
me
you
say
have to-
before. It's not just about having the gun; it's also having the will to use it.
And you have to assume
Lisa Harris had the will,
and the knowledge, and the training, and the practice to be on target. She had good sight acquisition, I would imagine.
Yeah, and Nate, you brought up a good point. They said specifically it was a 223 AR-15. Almost every mag is usually 30 rounds. So her 7 versus his 30 and precision. But you know what everyone's gonna say, guys? They're gonna say because it was a freaking 1911. So.
Yeah, but the thing is, even if the dude would have had a 5-round magazine in that AR-15, a pistol going up against a rifle usually wins. I mean, I'm just saying, like she. I would love to see the surveillance fitted.
But she outflanked them. Remember that, Nate? That's your.
Yeah,
you
she
did
used
all
good
those
tactics.
Yeah, she
tactics.
outflanked the guy from behind and drove the first shot right in the back of his head. That was excellent. I mean, she used her brain, man. It wasn't like she just sat there. She actively fought. Bless you, Adam. She actively fought to save her own life. That's the whole point. She chose that she wasn't going to be a victim, and she went on the offensive. She's like, F this, I'm not going to get killed. Timestamp. Sorry, Jake, you're away. And and went to work, man. And she gave the guy the bees, She DRT'd him right there, dead right there. Boom, done. Awesome. Nice. Love it.
Welcome back, Jake.
There was a couple of timestamps you missed there, Jake. Sorry.
About 30. I would say a solid 30 timestamp.
All
All right, guys. I got to go after this. That was my story for the night because I got to get up early tomorrow. So, Jake, thank you for having me here. Damon, it was good to see you finally on here. Adam,
right on, brother.
I'll see you guys. You guys have a good night, my brothers.
Always a pleasure, Baraka.
Thanks, brother. Take care. Overflow, way too many stories to cover this week. Like every week, you can head on over to firearmsradio.tv/pledge and pledge your support at the after show level. Join us after the show and talk about some of these extra stories. And Amazon, you can contribute to This Week in Guns and the Firearms Radio Network by shopping our Amazon affiliate link. Just click through the banners on the website or bookmark firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. We are to the full auto news segment, stories the real media won't talk about and other crazy stuff. Each of the hosts picks a story to call their own. Well, you guys are picking your stories. I want everyone else to head on over to jwbmilitary.com. That's the home of JWB Military and Brass, and check out some of their awesome fully processed, ready to load brass over there. And they also have some really affordable, high quality steel targets as well. Check it out, jwbmilitary.com. All right, who's ready?
Oh, I got one.
All right, Damon.
We got this guy on the motorcycle with the minigun mounted to the looks like a Triumph sport bike. I watched this video and I'm trying to figure out how it would affect the motorcycle's handling when you start firing that gun, because I'm a motorcycle enthusiast too.
I mean, it didn't slow down Chuck Norris in the movie Delta Force when he had machine guns and rockets mounted on his motorcycle.
I don't know, man. Motorcycle's a touchy thing. Maybe that's why he was just standing there, firing it off. I'm sure when he tried to pull the motorbike away, when the rear tire got into those expended shells, he probably got a little slippage and might have dropped the bike.
Very cool. Nate, what do you got?
Adam, are you doing the fishing story?
Yeah, I was planning on it.
Okay. Then I'm going to go with... well, I really do like it, but I'm not going to steal your thunder. It's not my style. We know that. No, I'm gonna talk about concerns over Lego toy guns unveils a nation of wimps, right? So this is a pretty interesting story where, if you leave little boys unattended and with no toys, they'll take sticks and they'll make sticks into guns on their own. But apparently, people are upset because of these toys that are supposed to like the premise of the story is this: is that people don't like children playing with toy guns of any kind. They don't like kids taking Legos and making them into toy guns. It's a bunch of helicopter parents that are scared that their children are going to grow up to be aggressive sociopaths instead of well-adjusted adults. But the thing is that there's all these other toys out there. Like if you buy your kid Luke Skywalker X-wing fighter, that shoots laser beams, that's fine. But if it's anything gun shaped, then it's not cool. I don't know. I guess I was reading like too much. I picked the story because of just there's no nice way for me to say it. Just the weakness of America. Like every day, I just see people, particularly men, just acting weaker and weaker as time goes by. And you're seeing it a lot with like how people raise their children, where if a kid eats a Pop-Tart into the shape of a handgun, he gets expelled out of school. I mean, I don't know. It's like that, and then all this gender fluidity nonsense where a little boy can play with dolls and a little girl, she can do like play with boy toys. Like when I was a little kid, like I grew up with sisters, so like I played with my sister, but it was still like I wanted to play GI Joes and she wanted to play with Barbies. I don't know. It's just a whole I'm disgusted with society right now kind of thing.
Right.
Adam,
it's the emasculation of the West. I mean, it's ridiculous.
The thing is, like all the people that hate us and want us to die, they give their kids AK-47s when they're like 7 years old. But if your 10-year-old has a Nerf gun, papers and take it away from him and make him go see a therapist. I mean, like long enough timeline. How are we going to survive? That's the question that comes to mind.
There's a great article that I read today. I'll put it under the Lego story here, but it's titled 5 Ways to Tell If You're a Little Bitch. And it's right along the lines of what you're talking about. It's a great article.
I mean, like the thing is, like if you don't like what Brock was saying earlier about like showing children how to be safe with firearms and to remove the curiosity from it. Like I believe that knowledge is power in all things. That's what I was saying earlier about like limiting information. Like if you make something mysterious, children will be more attracted to it. If you don't raise them with firearms, you don't raise them to be safe with firearms, and they won't be when they get older and they have access to one. If like you don't put the gravity of what a firearm is, you don't convey that gravity to a child, then I can see them growing up and being irresponsible with guns. So I mean, it's one of those things where instead of demonizing guns in any form, be it a water pistol or a Nerf gun, you actually take the opposite approach, which I'm willing to bet the majority of people that listen to the show grew up shooting guns, or if they got into shooting guns later on in life, they had a mentor and a good steward to show them the right way. But they probably still had toy guns as kids. I don't know.
Yep. Adam, what do you got?
So I've got the suppressed Glocks versus the invasive lionfish in Florida. So these dudes have gone and created a silencer, for lack of a better description, that they've been using underwater to shoot lionfish, which are an invasive species and cause all kinds of damage to the coral reefs down there. And it's a pretty freaking cool video. And there's another video with how they explain how the silencer suppressor works. And they were saying, I guess in a single weekend-long event in West Florida, over 1,600 lionfish were eradicated from local reefs and fishing holes. That obviously wasn't all done with this, but they've been using Gen 3 Glock 17s, and they were using lead-free ammo, which I found interesting that they did specify it. So it's a neat video. Check it out in the show notes if you haven't already seen it. It's pretty cool to watch them blast some fish underwater. That's
pretty cool. They said that like they're going out of their way to avoid hitting the reef. Like they're trying to be conservationists, in this hunting. No, it's pretty cool. I think like that the steel tube that's screwed on the end of the Glocks, I think it has more to stabilize the bullet. Probably. I don't think it has much. Yeah. I don't think it's like a silencer like how we understand it. It's like a muzzle attachment because if you shoot it like a handgun underwater, like it's only lethal for about like 5 feet or so. It's got an extremely short range underwater. That's how dense the water is. But
that lionfish got smoked.
Yeah, those line fishers taking over everything in areas down there. So
I want
extremely.
to do like extreme vacation where because I have my PADI certification, so I can scuba dive, but go like spearfish or glockfish with a handgun, and then the next day go fly in a helicopter and shoot wild pigs. That would be like dream vacation right there.
That'd be awesome. So, lots of great full auto stories this week. Too many to cover. Man, let's see here. No, I'm gonna skip that one. Man stabbed after cutting in line for pizza. Don't cut in line. People are hungry.
Especially when there's pizza.
When there's pizza involved. Restaurant owner shocked by the reactions she got after she bans AR-15 owning customers.
I don't know what people expect anymore. I really don't get it. Like, you take a political stance, and nobody's going to be happy, right? You're going to have one side that's like, rah, you took our side, and you're going to have the other side that now goes out of their way to ruin your life.
Well, it's funny. She like did this on a Facebook post, and then she was asked if she was going to put up a no gun sign so people couldn't, conceal carry, and she said, "Oh, well, people aren't going to obey a side." so she's at least smart enough to know that. But yeah, it's pretty funny. So I think the article really of the evening here is. You brought his name up earlier, Nathan, is Sheriff Clark takes down rowdy drunken passenger on North Carolina bound flight. So there's some unruly...
It's like if Samuel L. Jackson was a cop in real life and loved the Second Amendment, that would be this dude. He's like one of the most vocal, like... the guy's a phenomenal dude. There's very few times where he does an interview or talks about anything that I disagree with. He's just a very practical man, and that's what I'm saying. Like, why doesn't he run for office? I would vote for that dude in a heartbeat. He's he's exactly what I want to be in the Oval Office.
Yeah. Just this passenger was unruly. He was just moving up and down the aisles. He was taking different seats. He was intoxicated, cursing, swearing, just causing a big scene. Making the entire trip pretty miserable for a bunch of people. And at the end of the flight, the guy had his face buried in the ground with Sheriff Clark on top of him. So. I think, that would have been a cool scene to see. But yeah, good on him. So that brings us to end of the full auto stories. New way to support the show and the network. Head on over to firearmsradio.tv/pledge. Pledge your support for This Week in Guns. You can pledge for as little as about $1 an episode. So go over to firearmsradio.tv/pledge. And Patriot Patch Company helps make this episode possible. Check out patriotpatch.co. And this is part of the show where we see what's going on with Nate and Adam here. Braca and Damon had to drop out early here. So, Nate, what's up with you, Connect Development Group, and where can people connect with you online?
Well, KDG's full steam ahead. We have a bunch of new products that are coming out, some stuff that we've been kind of teasing the market with for the last couple months. It's gotten buttoned up, so we're going to have a bunch of new stuff coming out here very shortly.
Is it Ruger accessories?
No, our stuff works. So we have some pretty cool stuff coming out pretty soon. Enjoying the fall, so travel's kind of down. I'm going to be going down next week to AUSA, which is kind of like SHOT Show for the government. It's like Lockheed Martin and General Dynamics and all the big defense contractors show off their latest toys. So I'm looking forward to that. It's always a really good show. I really enjoy going to that.
Very cool. Where's that one at?
It's down in DC. It's down in Washington, DC every year. So it's a pretty informal show. I get to have a lot of good meetings and see a lot of of good business contacts down there. So looking forward to that. But if you want to get a hold of me, you can go ahead and follow Connect Development Group on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to harass me personally, you can send me a message on Instagram. Just look for GripStop. That's my personal Instagram page. So
Damon popped back in here. So Damon, this part of the show where you can share with what's going on with you, anything you want to plug, and where can people connect with you online?
White House Burning Band. Just Google it. White House Burning Music. Any kind of Google search related to that will bring us right up. We're working on a new single right now. Matter of fact, we were in the studio yesterday doing tracks for our new single. It'll be released with a video, very topical, very current, and it will be released on November 8th, Election Day. So
very cool.
Follow along with White House Burning for a Second Amendment advocate and a metalhead, and my boys in the band are the same mentality as me.
Very cool.
Do you guys have a Facebook page or anything?
Yes, we do. Just go on Facebook and search White House Burning. Get everything. We have
very cool.
Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. White House Burning kind of covers it all.
Very cool.
Awesome. I'll put a link up in the show notes
Thanks, Nate.
as well.
Thanks, Jake.
And so, Adam, what's up, and where can people connect online?
Starting to get pretty busy at the law firm, picking up a lot of new work with that Third Circuit decision coming out that certain misdemeanor crimes, which are prohibiting offenses, as applied to the individual, may violate their Second Amendment rights. So we've had a number of people inquiring about things they've been convicted of that were a lot of times, all the ones that we've discussed anyway, nonviolent offenses that are federally prohibiting, and so that's going to make me a very busy little bee. In addition to that, the law firm, I guess the NRA, running for the board of directors, is probably everybody listening mostly knows anyway. If you're an NRA member of 5 consecutive years or more, or a life member or better, in February, keep your eye out on the NRA magazine you subscribe to. The ballot will be in there. You'll see my name, Adam Kraut. Make sure you vote for me, and then slap that back in there and send it on out. The less names you vote for, the better. More chance of getting on the board that way. If you're local to the Lancaster area, Pennsylvania area, Saturday, October 22nd from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. we're having our machine gun shoot. It is a biannual thing where it used to all be at Lancaster. This year we did it the spring shoot up north, the Stone Machine Gun shoot, which Jake and Nate and a lot of other people came to. This is the smaller local, no vendors or anything, but people bring machine guns. If you want to come shoot machine guns, rent some. There are FFLs that rent them. If you head over to Firearms Industry Consulting Group on Facebook and check that out, there is an events page. We just ask that you RSVP there so we can get an idea of head count.
When is it again?
The 22nd.
22nd of October.
Yes, sir.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I had a great time at the Stone Mountain machine gun shoot in the spring, so I'm going to definitely try to come out for this.
I got to get a piece of that, man.
And I think that's pretty much it. There's probably some other stuff that I'm forgetting, but that's cool. So if you want to connect with, if you want to see Law Firm Firearms Industry Consulting Group on Facebook, blog.princelaw.com. If you're trying to catch me, you can check out my public profile, Adam Kraut. Just search for that. You'll see that, like that. And if you want to check me out on Instagram, you can check out Moose00015. And that's all I got.
Very
you
cool.
got my vote.
Thank you.
Which issue did you say that comes out in?
The February.
Okay, I'll have
February.
to make sure
Yeah,
I don't.
and I got
that one.
The letter I got was earlier, like last week, I want to say, and I sent them over double the required signatures, and I still have people are still sending me back petitions, which is awesome. So, thank you so much for your support, guys. By the way, that really means a lot.
Very cool. I have just one thing to plug or talk about here. Firearms Radio Network celebrated another milestone, hit 11 million all-time downloads here.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
It
thank
seems
you,
like 10
listeners.
million was
Very good.
not too long ago.
No, it wasn't.
At all.
It wasn't at all. So, yeah, they keep coming more and more frequently. So, yeah, thank you for everyone tuning in, listening, watching, however you consume the show. Please continue to share it with your family and friends. So,
Right on, Jake.
yeah, go on over to the show notes as well and leave your comments there or the comment on the bottom of this YouTube video. Please leave us an iTunes review if that's how you watch, or if you listen with a podcatcher app, you can usually leave reviews there too. Contribute to the show using that Amazon affiliate link. And that's about all we have. So thank you, Nate.
Thank you, Jake. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Damon.
Jake, thank you so much. It's great being on with you guys. Like I said earlier, you guys are like rock stars to me. I listen to the show religiously every week. I hope to be on again, man.
Appreciate you joining us. Yeah, it was awesome. So, Adam, thank you.
Thanks for having me, Jake. It's always a pleasure.
That's a wrap. We'll see you next week.